A fish that sees in total darkness using eyes the size of basketballs. A worm that survives by eating poison. An octopus with a transparent brain floating inside a see-through skull. These aren't science fiction monsters. They're real. They exist right now, a few thousand meters below your feet. And according to every biology textbook ever written, they shouldn't be alive. Because here's the thing. We spent centuries figuring out the rules of life, how cells work, what animals need to survive, the limits of what's possible. And then we went to the deep ocean and found creatures that looked at those rules, laughed, and did the exact opposite. Not just bending the rules, completely shattering them. And the craziest part? They're thriving. So either our entire understanding of biology is wrong, or something down there rewrote the code of life itself. And honestly, both options are terrifying. Let's start with the most fundamental rule of biology. You need oxygen to survive. Every living thing on Earth requires oxygen for cellular respiration. It's how we convert food into energy. Without it, cells die. Organs fail. Life ends. This isn't a suggestion. It's biochemistry, non-negotiable. Except for the creatures living near hydrothermal vents. Down at the bottom of the ocean, where tectonic plates split apart, superheated water erupts from the seafloor. These vents spew water at temperatures exceeding 400 degrees Celsius. That's hot enough to melt lead, and the water isn't just hot, it's toxic. Loaded with hydrogen sulfide, heavy metals, and zero oxygen. Nothing should survive there. Nothing. But giant tube worms do, up to 8 feet long, with no mouth, no stomach, no digestive system at all. They can't eat. They don't hunt. They just exist in a place that should be a biological dead zone. So how? They broke the rules. Inside their bodies, they host billions of bacteria that convert hydrogen sulfide, the same chemical that smells like rotten eggs and is toxic to most life, into energy. These worms don't need oxygen. They don't need food. They've outsourced their entire metabolism to bacteria that thrive on poison. It's like if you could survive by swallowing battery acid and letting tiny organisms in your gut turn it into nutrients. Except it's real, and it rewrites everything we thought about energy production in living organisms. But that's just the beginning, because oxygen isn't the only rule deep-sea creatures ignore. Rule number 2. Cells collapse under extreme pressure. Human bodies are designed for sea level pressure, about 14.7 psi. At 1,000 meters deep, the pressure is 100 times that. At 10,000 meters, it's over 1,000 times atmospheric pressure. That kind of force should crush cell membranes, denature proteins, and turn tissue into biological paste. Most animals brought to those depths die instantly. Their bodies literally implode. But snailfish don't. The Mariana snailfish, discovered at depths of nearly 8,000 meters, is a gelatinous, translucent creature that looks like it's melting. And in a way it is, but by design. Its body has almost no solid structure, no swim bladder, which would compress and kill it, no heavy bones, which would become liabilities. Just soft, flexible tissue and a protein structure that's been completely redesigned. Scientists found that deep-sea fish produce a chemical called trimethylamine N-oxide, or TMAO. This molecule acts like a molecular chaperone, protecting proteins from being crushed by pressure. It stabilizes the protein structure at the molecular level, preventing them from collapsing. The deeper the fish lives, the more TMAO it produces. It's a biological pressure suit built into the chemistry of every cell. So snailfish didn't adapt to extreme pressure. They rewired their cellular architecture to make pressure irrelevant. That's not bending the rules. That's rewriting the textbook. Now let's talk about Rule 3. Animals need light to see. Vision is based on photoreception. Light enters the eye, hits photoreceptor cells, and gets converted into electrical signals the brain interprets as images. No light, no vision. Simple, right? Wrong. Because in the deep ocean below 1,000 meters, there is no sunlight. Zero. It's pitch black, completely dark, and yet creatures down there can still see. Not just a little. Some of them see better than animals on the surface. The giant squid has the largest eyes in the animal kingdom. Each eye is nearly the size of a basketball, over 10 inches across. Why? Because it's hunting in total darkness. But wait, if there's no light, what's the point of giant eyes? Bioluminescence. That's the loophole. In the deep sea, creatures make their own light. Bacteria, jellyfish, squid, fish, they all glow. Some use it to hunt. Others use it to communicate. Some use it as camouflage, lighting their undersides to match the faint glow from above, erasing their silhouettes. And the giant squid's massive eyes? They're designed to detect the faintest flicker of bioluminescent light from miles away. A single photon can trigger a response. But some creatures went even further. They broke vision entirely. The barreleye fish has a transparent skull. Yes, transparent. You can see straight through its head to its brain. Its eyes are tubular and point upward, locked in place, scanning for prey silhouettes against the faint light filtering from above. It can't move its eyes. It doesn't need to. Its entire skull is a window, and its eyes are binocular telescopes embedded in its head. Evolution looked at normal fish anatomy and said, actually, let's try something completely insane. And it worked. Rule 4. You can't survive without a brain. Every animal needs a central nervous system to process information, coordinate movement, and respond to stimuli. The brain is the command center. Move it, and the organism dies. Basic neuroscience. Except sea cucumbers disagree. These blob-like echinoderms live on the seafloor, and when threatened, they do something unthinkable. They eject their internal organs. All of them. Their stomach, intestines, respiratory organs, everything. They shoot them out of their body as a distraction while they escape. And then, over the next few weeks, they just grow them all back. No big deal. But here's the kicker. Some sea cucumbers can regenerate their entire nervous system. They can regrow their brain. Not repair it, regrow it from scratch. That shouldn't be possible. Neural tissue is notoriously difficult to regenerate. Humans can't do it. Most animals can't do it. But sea cucumbers, they treat their brain like a replaceable part. Scientists are still trying to figure out how. The leading theory is that they have dormant stem cells scattered throughout their bodies that activate during regeneration. But the fact remains, these creatures can survive catastrophic damage that would kill anything else, and they do it routinely. They turned self-mutilation into a survival strategy. And it works. Now let's break Rule 5. Metabolism has limits. Every animal has a metabolic rate, the speed at which it converts food into energy. Warm-blooded animals have fast metabolisms. Cold-blooded animals have slow ones. But there's always a baseline. You need a certain amount of energy to stay alive. Period. Except Greenland sharks don't care. These sharks live in the Arctic, in water just above freezing. They move at about 0.76 miles per hour. That's slower than you walk. They're so slow that algae grows on their skin. They look like underwater zombies, drifting through the dark, barely moving. And they can live for over 400 years. 400 years. That's not a typo. One Greenland shark was estimated to be 512 years old. It was alive when Shakespeare was writing plays. And the reason it lives so long, its metabolism is almost non-existent. It burns energy so slowly that it barely ages. It doesn't hunt actively, it scavenges, it drifts, it waits. And because it's in freezing water, its cells operate in extreme slow motion. Chemical reactions that would take hours in warm water take days in the cold. This isn't just slow living. This is biological time dilation. The shark's entire existence is in slow motion compared to surface animals. And because of that, it's one of the longest-lived vertebrates on Earth. It broke the aging process by opting out of the fast lane entirely. But perhaps the most disturbing rule deep-sea creatures break is this. Life needs a stable environment. Biology thrives in equilibrium. Stable temperature, stable pressure, stable chemistry. Rapid changes kill cells. It's why hospitals monitor vital signs so closely. Deviation equals danger. But the Pompeii worm doesn't believe in stability. It lives on hydrothermal vents, where the temperature swings from near freezing to over 80 degrees Celsius in a matter of centimeters. Its head is in water hot enough to brew tea. Its tail is in water just above freezing. And it's fine. Completely fine. How? It produces heat shock proteins, molecules that prevent cellular damage from temperature extremes. But it doesn't just produce them occasionally. It produces them constantly, in massive quantities. Its cells are in a perpetual state of emergency response, which should be exhausting and unsustainable. But the Pompeii worm has been doing this for millions of years. It's like if you lived in a house where one room was on fire and the other was frozen solid, and you just walked between them casually, unbothered. It shouldn't work, but it does. And then there's the Yeti crab. Covered in hair-like setae, it waves its claws over hydrothermal vents, cultivating bacteria on its arms. It's farming. Underwater, in toxic, superheated water. The bacteria growing on its fur feed on the chemicals from the vent, and the crab harvests them by scraping its claws against its mouth. It's not hunting. It's gardening in hell. So why do deep-sea creatures break every rule? Because the deep ocean isn't just a different environment, it's a different planet. The rules we learned in biology class, those apply to the surface. To sunlight, oxygen, stable pressure, predictable temperatures. The deep sea has none of that. So evolution didn't bend the rules. It threw them out and started over. And here's the terrifying part. We've barely explored any of it. Less than 5% of the deep ocean has been mapped. Less than 1% has been studied in detail. That means there are potentially thousands of species down there that we've never seen. Creatures that break rules we haven't even discovered yet. Every time we send a submersible down, we find something impossible. A fish that shouldn't survive, an octopus that defies physics, a worm that eats poison. The deep sea isn't just hiding new species, it's hiding new biology. And that's the real revelation. The rules we thought were universal, they're not. They're just the rules for life as we know it. But life in the deep, that's something else entirely. So the next time someone tells you what's biologically possible, remember this. There are creatures right now, thousands of meters below us, doing things science said were impossible. And they've been doing it for millions of years. The rule book was never complete. We just didn't know where to look.